Good morning. Good morning, folks. Hello, hello. Good morning. Thank you. Good morning. We have some music. I'm definitely not in Malaysia anymore. Oh well, it's hot and steamy there. But in Bangkok, in Thailand, where Buddhism is the national religion, we're greeted always with the namaste. So sweet, so sweet. So namaste, friends, this morning. Good to see you. Do we have any folks who are new here with us today? We'd love to hand you a welcome packet. Anybody want one? All right. Welcome online folks. We're so happy you're with us. I also missed COVID here apparently, so I was in Southeast Asia and many of you were in bed, so I'm sorry for that. I had a better time. Our speaker today is Reverend Suzanne Carter. Anisha Kuhn is our reader, and John Magny and the choir are rocking it out today. I love walking into the choir rehearsing. Oh my goodness, it just is great. Youth and Family Program is focusing on growing and changing new possibilities. On Sunday, which is today, their topic is, I can make good choices. So, yay kids, and yay Nancy. Every week, a prayer chaplain is available to pray with people after the service, back in the Myrtle Room. Today, the chaplain is Nancy Hughes, and she's back with the kids. So if you're interested in praying with Nancy, she'll be back in the Myrtle Room. We have a ton of lost and found items. They're all on the shelf in the hallway, so if you're missing something, peruse the shelf. We're looking for someone who lives in Central or Southeast Fort Collins who might be able to give a fellow member a ride to and from the Sunday services. So if that seems like you, contact Julie in the office. So the next cool iteration of the art wall is a decoration of photos of you and your loved ones. So we're going to have a whole wall of people we love on the back wall. Isn't that awesome? So send digital or hard copies to the office by Monday. Is that tomorrow? I think you can have more time than that. Yeah, so anyway, I don't know what day it is anyway, but Monday seems too soon. Courtney says bring in an actual picture if you want, and we'll copy it. So Courtney, when do we actually want them? Okay, through Sunday, this week. On Saturday the 27th, the Polestar Gardens community will be having a birthday party for Yogananda. We'll go from 4 to 8 p.m. and include food and games. Contact Vina for more information. The next Interfaith Chant and Music will meet from 7 to 9 on the 27th. Prayer chaplain training Saturday, February 3rd. There's an insert in the bulletin today with complete details. And on January 28th, Suzanne Carter will be having a workshop at Unity from 11:30 to 1. It's based on the book, All Children Are Gifted, Raising Confident and Aware Children. Flyers on the youth table in the foyer. If you have family or friends with kids, spread the news. Community Lunch Bunch today is heading to the Island Grill. Okay, thank you so much. Good to be back. Oh, more announcements? Come on, line them up.
Good morning. So I'm from the nominating committee for council here. In February, we're going to have our annual meeting, and we'll be letting some of the council members graduate or move on, and we're needing some openings and for people coming in. So if you're interested in joining the council, we've been announcing this for a few weeks. Today's the last day, so if you could see me afterward, even if you're slightly interested, maybe not this year, but next year. So appreciate that. Thank you.
I just have to say that the council likes each other and has fun.
Hello, I'm Dave, and we are starting a new class on February 12th. We are titling it Setting the Mind Free, Expanding Consciousness and Creating Psychic and Spiritual Literacy through exploring ineffable, extraordinary, and mysterious human experiences. That's a mouthful. Yes. I am co-hosting this with Anisha Kuhn, who, if you will recall, was here in October talking about her own extraordinary psychic experience after the tragedy with her son. In this group, we're going to be talking about our own extraordinary experiences, try to better understand the significance and integrate those into our spiritual journeys. We will also look at the scientific side, going through various book chapters as references and looking at those external experiences. We'll look at our own programming, the things we are accepting daily, and hopefully try and challenge some of those belief systems. And our hope is by opening our awareness to each other in unity, we can begin to grasp, and I stress begin to grasp infinity and accept the uncertainty that comes with that and some of the mystery. So again, it'll start on Mondays, every 4 weeks on Monday, February 12th, 6:30. I do have a bulletin board I will pass around. If you are on that side, it's going back. If you're on this side, it's coming forward. Thank you.
How smart to give directions. Yay. I have been having my own extraordinary experiences with Anisha. She's the real deal. All right. Let's do our centering prayer. Our unity centers us in light and peace, allowing us to recognize our God within and to radiate that love to the world. Thank you.
All right, hello everyone. Good morning. As usual, we've been having a lot of fun with our choir. And I would like to say our next choir rehearsal will be January 31st, Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Has been turning out to be a good choir rehearsal day. Here's one we hope y'all will sing along with Joe Ellen leading us here.
Yeah.
To give a little, take a little. to laugh a little, cry a little, before the clouds roll by a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love. As long as there's a group of us, we have the world and all its charms. And when the world seems cruel to us, we've got each other's arms. You've got to win a little, lose a little, and always have the blues a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love.
What's up, Tommy?
As long as there's a group of us, we have the world and all its charms. And when the world is cruel to us, we've got each other's arms. You've got to win a little, lose a little, and always have the blues a little. That's the story of, that's the glory of love. That's the story of, that's the glory of love.
All right, thank you. Wait, stay up, stay up.
Stay up.
We're going to have a reading by Anisha
Sorry. Okay. We're here.
from a wonderful book, Black Elk Speaks. Easy for me to
Well,
say.
I changed the reading
Oh.
a bit. I was going to do it, yes.
Whatever she wants.
Yes. Thank you. Good morning. I'm going to share some Ghandi wisdom this morning from the Essential Ghandi by Louis Fischer. Glasses again. Okay. I can truthfully say I am slow to see the blemishes of fellow beings, being myself full of them, and therefore being in need of their charity. I've learnt not to judge anyone harshly and to make allowances for defects that I may detect. Somehow I'm able to draw the noblest in mankind, and that is what enables me to maintain my faith in God and human nature. I am an irrepressible optimist because I believe in myself. That sounds very arrogant, doesn't it? But I say it from the depths of my humility. I am an optimist because I expect many things from myself. I have not got them, I know, as I am not yet a perfect being. I want to attain that perfection by service. Whenever I see an erring man, I say to myself, I have also erred. And in this way, I feel kinship with everyone in the world and feel that I cannot be happy without the humblest of us being happy. Whenever you are in doubt or when the self becomes too much with you, Apply the following test. Recall the face of the poorest and the weakest man whom you may have seen, and ask yourself if the step you contemplate is going to be of any use to him. Will he gain anything by it? Will it restore him? Then you will find your doubts and yourself melting away. The purpose of life is undoubtedly to know oneself. We cannot do it unless we learn to identify ourselves with all that lives. The sum total of that life is God. The instrument of this knowledge is boundless, selfless service.
All right. Thank you. When we were working up O Come Emmanuel for Christmas, I found out that Emmanuel means God is with us now. So I put together a little chant around that theme. Are you ready, singers? God is with us, is with us. God is with us now. God is with us, is with us. God is with us now. God is with us, is with us. God is with us now. God is with us, is with us. God is with us now. So people, be of good cheer. Let your spirit rise above. There is nothing to fear, but there is everything to love. So people, be of good cheer. Let your spirit rise above. There is nothing to fear, but there is everything to love. Oh, come, Emmanuel, there's a joyful celebration. Let your own divinity shine into infinity. Come, Emmanuel, there's a joyful celebration. Let your own divinity shine into infinity. Come, Emmanuel, there's a joyful celebration. Let your own divinity shine so people feel good cheer. There's a joyful celebration. Let your own divinity shine into infinity. God is with us, is with us. God is with us now. God is with us, is with us. God is with us now. So people, be of good cheer. Let your spirit fly above. God is with us now. There is nothing to fear, but there is everything to love. All right, thank you. The choir will be back later.
Good morning. Wonderful to be here with you. So I'll begin with the story. Once upon a time, my stepsister and her husband came to visit me when I had my horse in Evergreen, Colorado. I was so excited to introduce them to my horse, Harmony. And after we were petting her for a while, we were getting ready for a walk and a picnic, and I saw one of his children asking him something I didn't hear, and then he said to me, well, you mean we're not going to ride her? So, like, what good is a horse you can't ride? Well, I'm going to tell you today. I have 3 horse stories that I learned that I learned so much wisdom from Harmony and her 40 herd mates when I lived in Evergreen. And so the first story is about Harmony and how she came to me. She came to me to be an equine assisted therapist with me. And classic EAP, equine assisted therapy, is all unmounted, meaning that our feet are on the ground with the horse's hooves. So she came to me in May of 2009. It was a rather wonderful time. I had said to the universe that year, in January of 2009, I'm either going to get a horse or I'm going to get my PhD. And I was applying for a program in Denver, and lo and behold, just a couple months later, I was certified with EGALA, an organization I used to be certified with to do EAP. And I got a notice that they were sending, what picture? Oh, there she is. They were sending, EGALA had partnered with the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation, and they were going to send licensed therapists, free horses, no such thing as a free horse, but they were going to send us horses, thoroughbreds, to have another career. This was past the racing time. And so it was like, okay, universe, it was so beautiful, it was so wonderful. The way I got her was so amazing. Our dreams can come true as long as we just take the next step. And so, but becoming a horse parent was so encompassing for me that it changed my life in a million ways. When I was with Harmony, and it's a good idea when you're with a horse to be like this, but I was fully present, fully conscious, and I was immersed in that experience. So no matter what was going on in my life, when I went to see her, 'cause she boarded 20 minutes from me, everything was just so perfect. So being present like this with her and her herd mates enabled me to be more of who I am at a cellular level. And so, but when it was time, and she was coming to me on May 24th of 2009, being shipped from Kentucky, I was definitely a little nervous. Even though I had a wonderful son, a 2-legged child, to become a horse mother was a dream come true, one that I had had my whole life. And so Harmony, she was one of many great-granddaughters of the famous horse Secretariat. Some of you may know of him. He won the Triple Crown horse race at the Kentucky Derby in 1973. And his record still stands for the fastest mile ever run. And when he died, they examined his heart, and it was the largest heart of any horse heart they'd ever seen. And Harmony, one of his many great-granddaughters, I think she was healing the clients she saw with her emotional heart. It was just wonderful. And she was also helping my son and I feel so loved, as well as her clients. However, Harmony came to me with a serious addiction. And I know that sounds sort of funny at first, but it's true. They didn't tell me this at the Thoroughbred Retirement Foundation, that she had a serious addiction. They hoped that if she came to a 1,000-acre ranch, she would be fine and she wouldn't have it anymore. But what happened, and I'm going to tell you all about that because it sounds a little odd, but when she lost her 3rd baby at birth, before she came to me, she had to convalesce in a stall. And she had never been confined to a stall in her entire life. Stall vice, and so she developed what's called a stall vice. Stall vices are ways that horses deal with being shuttered in a stall. Some horses are just fine with that, but she was not. And so being shuttered in a stall for her was the opposite of what she needed. Horses in the wild, they spend all day walking, eating, playing, jumping, all of that. And so in the wild, they don't do that because a 1,000-pound animal standing in one place is not good for some. It wasn't good for her. She figured out how to, she lost her baby, so she's in a stall. And what this addiction was, it was called cribbing, but actually what it is when she would take any kind of horizontal piece of wood, like the top of a fence or something, she would anchor her teeth in it and do a very deep inhalation. Now, if you're a horse, especially a racehorse, as thoroughbreds are, you have huge lungs. And so that would create endorphins for her, and she became very addicted to that behavior. Now, we know how serious it is for humans when they have serious addictions. A vet told me that this cribbing in horses is as serious as a heroin addiction in humans. So she never really got over it, even though she was on a 1,000-acre ranch, and most of the time she was happy running around with her friends. A lot of times she would be standing away from her herd mates, and it was a 1,000-acre ranch doing this addiction. So one thing she did was she did help a lot of people with addictions. I was even on Channel 9 News one time with her about this addiction. But the point of this story is that humans, as harmony, often find medicating behaviors when they are not free to be who they are. The medicators, like for her, she wanted to run and play, but in the stall she couldn't, and she developed this stall vice. For humans, I think the greatest pain that we will ever have is not being free to be who we truly are. That is our reason to come here. Now, medicators for humans, like one of my colleagues one time said, almost any human behavior can become a medicator or not if we're using it to block the pain of something. And I'm saying today the biggest pain is not being able to be who we are. Now, we all know about medicators, addictions. We can think of drugs and alcohol, cigarettes, overachieving, underachieving, too much exercise, not enough exercise, food issues, television, too much screens, almost anything if we're using it to distract ourselves from being who we are. So as I recommend, we're still in January, so we're still beginning 2024. I highly recommend that we all make our number one goal to seek and be who we are authentically. And that's a hard prescription, really. One time I was saying this to someone a long time ago, and she said, well, I'm who I am all the time. If I don't like something, I just blast it out and let people know. And that's not necessarily what I'm saying. Often our authentic self isn't about blasting others. I don't think so. But so one of the very best ways to heal from any kind of medicator use that we have is to every day seek and identify who we are. And as we do that, we also connect to our inner gifts. Our inner gifts, we each have these inner gifts, and there we have them to enable us to fulfill our divine purpose. But so anyway, part of my own soul's path in being who I am, I know now, was becoming a horse mother. It was just so wonderful. And it would have been so easy to say, oh, no, I can't do that. It's too expensive. Where would I board her? You know, and it was besides having my own son, it was my two-legged son, it was the most meaningful thing I've ever done. And it continues to bless me because it changed me. Or actually, it didn't change me. It made me be able to be more of who I am. And so that's story number one about horses. The next one is about being who we are, even when we are threatened. So one day, while at this 1,000-acre ranch where Harmony lived, I was taking a walk with my darling four-legged dog, Jessie, a golden retriever, and and Harmony, because she loved to go on walks with us. I would take picnics and have carrots for her. It was so much fun. Anyway, so Jesse and a friend of mine, a male friend who was afraid of horses. But I assured him that everything would be just perfect. Sometimes we have to watch out what we say. Everything was fine at the end. I don't want to set you up to think something bad happened, except something very learning. It brought so much learning for me. So we were walking on this 1,000-acre ranch. We walked from Harmony's pasture. We had to cross through another herd's pasture to get to these really lovely hiking trails on this ranch. And so normally we just walked right through that second pasture. But this time there was a new horse there in the second pasture, a new young horse. And I was walking, with my friend and my dog and Harmony. We're walking along, and I notice there's this horse that's like whinnying at us. And he's all of a sudden galloping toward us. And the way horses are, oh, that must be something scary. And so pretty soon there's a herd of 20 horses galloping toward us. And so I'm like, I'm a new horse person. I mean, a new horsewoman. And my friend and I became both a little nervous. My first fear was about keeping Jesse, my friend, and Harmony safe. That was the first thing. And so as the horses were drawing closer, I knew that I could just say, we need to run. Or, I'm so glad I did the second thing. I just paused in the moment. I embraced the fear, noticed it, and became mindful. I took a breath, and this is what I did. It was just such an automatic thing. When we truly connect to who we are, and we also have been doing practices to be connected to that, I was able to say to my friend, please take Jesse and the dog, and please, you guys go over there by those trees. And then, as the herd was coming closer to us, they did not seem scary at all, really, to me at all. And Harmony had faced them. And this was so wonderful when horses do this. I don't know if you've ever seen them, but she was snorting at them like a fire-breathing dragon. And she was doing that. And so some of the galloping horses, there was about 20 of them, some sniffed her, but most of them just went right on by. And so I was like, it was such an all-encompassing experience. And so I realized 3 very important things that day. First of all, if I stay centered when afraid, often what seems so scary isn't so scary, but it's like paying attention. Often what humans do, especially with fear has such a bad rap. It does. Fear is a feeling like anger and sadness. These are feelings that come from within us. But often humans we either can exaggerate the fear or make it so small or ignore it. Or sometimes, in spiritual circles, we say, oh, no fear, don't ever pay attention to no fear, don't ever have fear. That's impossible. When there is some threat going on, our bodies are going to generate fear, but it means pay attention. Is this dangerous? Do I need to do something? Be present to it, interact with it, but be present, be mindful to our feelings. So with my fear that day, I was centered enough to ask my friend to walk away with Jesse, go over by the trees, in case the horses are going to attack us, at least they won't attack you. I was a new horse person. I don't know what they were going to do. And I was centered enough to not control Harmony. How could you control a 1,000-pound animal anyway? But in that moment, I tried not to. And so she faced the herd. She faced this galloping group. And so especially what I learned from that day was to pay attention, to face the threat. Horses, they often do that to see, of course, this is all anthropomorphizing. Who knows really what they're thinking and doing? But we can figure it out. But it's so face them. This is what she did. And she was like snorting at them. It was just so beautiful. But then I think horses do that to see. Pay attention. Is my survival threatened? What do I need to do? Run, gather with my herd or whatever. That's what I've noticed in the horses. And so that is very important. If nothing else that you take home from this talk today, when you feel there is a fear in your life, face it. If you need to, get someone to face it with you, but be mindful of it, because feelings come up to give us information about what's scary. And then another thing I learned from her in that day, this is more as I thought about the experience, that in stressful situations, I must remember that I'm not alone. Even if I'm only connected to my own inner knowing, I'm still not alone. And then all I need to do is ask for help, for that help within or for someone else, from someone else. And then as we were walking away from this galloping horse experience, we were still going to go on our hike. We still had our picnic in the backpack. But as I was leading Harmony, and now I'm just so much in love with her, even more then, and she put her head very low to the ground. And I said to her, "What are you doing?" And I heard from her, at least in my own mind, "I was protecting you." Now, I do really think that happened. I talked to an animal communicator about it, and she said animals speak to us all the time if we can just sort of listen with our hearts. And so the point of this story is when we do connect with and seek to live from who we truly are, almost all of the time, what's so wonderful is our deepest inner knowing will come forth and will help us not only negotiate threats, but also connect with others and also to fulfill our divine purpose. But the important thing is to first always connect. You know, great leaders, I mean, Jesus said it like this, but others say, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things shall be added unto you. What that means is, for me, and in unity, seek first your true self. Seek first who you are, and then everything you want and desire will happen. And then the last story is called The Merging of the Two Herds. So at this ranch, Brose Ranch in Evergreen, where she lived, again, I told you there were two herds in different parts of the ranch. They moved the horses around, but one herd lived closer to the barn because some of these horses would go in at night into a stall. Now, as I told you earlier, Harmony could never go in a stall. I always wondered if she got sick, what I would do, because she would kill herself, literally. One time she colicked, which is a serious horse disease, when I put her in a stall when I first got her. So she was not to be in a stall, period, because she would then really immerse herself in the addiction. So anyway, there was that herd. A third of her herd went into the stall at night. And she was in that herd, but they stayed out. And then there was another herd. But this one particular fall, the last fall that she was at the ranch, there was a huge drought. And the field that she lived in, there wasn't enough hay. And however, there was this other field that was filled with beautiful hay that hadn't been, grass that hadn't been touched all summer. And so the ranch manager asked us, all of us in both herds, would you like to move some of your horses to this other pasture? And I knew that it would be better for her. She tended to be sort of thin because of her addiction. When all the horses are eating, sometimes she would be doing the cribbing, and I did everything possible to help her heal from this. A friend of mine even said, make her a Reiki master. And she was. She literally was. A friend of mine, sure, I can balance her chakras, and she was. She did have she generated beautiful energy. But anyway, so I said, yes, we'll move her to the other pasture. Now, the thing is, she moved with 7 of her friends from this one herd, and they were going to be going to another, with some of the horses from the other herd. But she had to leave her very best friend, another thoroughbred. And yet to not have moved her because of this would not have been in her best interest. But I checked in with her. I checked with other people on the ranch to think it was the best thing for her. And so the thing is about this is something else that we humans can learn. A lot of times we have an opportunity. Anytime we have a new opportunity, there's always loss with the thing we're in. And a lot of times, we may not go to the new opportunity because we don't know how to deal with the loss of the present situation. And that happens a lot because we don't know how to deal with these painful feelings. But the thing is, we are made so beautifully and so wonderfully. We have the ability to deal with all feelings. And so anyway, I said yes. The day of the move came. I was pretty nervous that day because several of the horse experts on the ranch had said, you better watch out. She's going to get beat up. They're going to kick her and stomp on her, and you'll be very sorry that you moved her. It's like, okay, all right, thank you for sharing. I had learned after, this is the 9th year, that horse experts love to tell me what to do with her. But as long as I was present to her and listened to her and did the right things, it always worked out so beautifully. And so the first day, these 2 different groups of horses were put in this other pasture. And the first day, they were very, very far apart. They weren't even, it looked like they didn't even know the others were there. The second day, they were closer in the morning. But in the afternoon, they were farther apart. Third day, even farther apart. So I'm beginning to think, well, maybe they're not going to ever connect. We humans tend to be impatient. Like, come on, what are you guys doing? And so the 4th day, my son and I went to the ranch, had a little picnic in our backpacks, and we had binoculars because we wanted to watch the horses. And as we were looking, there was one horse from one of the groups that was approaching the other group. And she was like going slow, and at the time, I didn't know it, but it was Harmony. and so she walked up and she was sniffing horses, a couple, and then pretty soon another of her herd came, and pretty soon they began interacting. And by day 5, they were all together. Now, what can we learn from this? Well, first of all, sometimes the grass is greener on the other side. Sometimes we really do need to pay attention. Not always, but sometimes opportunities come, but we don't take them again because I said we don't know how to deal with painful feelings. However, again, we can deal with painful feelings. We can deal with loss. And so the second thing that we can learn from the horses is that it's okay to go slowly. Usually there is not a hurry. Most of the time. Now, it's not urgent. Now, when we really think, like I got this deep wisdom from Mark Nepo, one of my favorite teachers, but we tend to make things always in a hurry, but usually what we think is urgent is not. And if we just reconnect to ourselves and center, we'll realize it's okay to go slowly. And we miss a lot when we're always rushing. So, and my friend, I have a good friend who's an astrologer and a unity minister, and she said, well, Suzanne, you don't have any earth in your chart. That's why you are always rushing around so much. But I've learned how to not do that, but most of the time anyway. And so, so we tend to make everything urgent and need to rush, and that's usually not the case. And the last thing is to be respectful of self and others. These horses were so slow. They would look at each other and they'd go back to eating, and then they'd get far apart, then they'd come back together. But it's just being respectful, not trying to make them, like one of my horse friends there, you know what, we could speed this up. You go on one side with a rope and I'll go on the other, and we'll just, it's like, nah, don't think I'll do that. And I didn't need to. We don't usually need to do that. And so again, another thing is, remember people said, well, she's going to get beat up. They're going to bite her. She's lower on the totem pole than anyone, even though she was the first one that made that first initiation. So we project our stuff onto one another, onto the earth, onto animals. And so the key is to connect here. And so I was thinking about those humans who were telling me she's going to get beat up, they're going to bite her and charge her. And I was thinking, what I was thinking was, you know what, is that what you would do? Because that the horses, now certainly sometimes horses do that. And I know that many of you are probably horse experts in here. And we have seen when two horses have to come together in a new arena, they may be a little bit pushy with each other, but nothing usually like kicking, biting, and charging. Not usually, sometimes. And so finally, the last story, this will be really fast. It's called You Must Be Present to Win. And so one time, when I moved to Seattle in 1998, that's when I knew I was going to become a horse person. And I met a friend, and she had 10 acres with lots of horses. It was so wonderful. Anyway, she took me to this one workshop with some famous horse person. It was a long time ago, and it was the 3-day workshop. End of 3 days, they're having this contest where we were able to put our ticket in the little box, and they would give a free cassette tapes. It was cassette tapes then, a material of the workshop. I go, oh, I would really love that. I want that. I hope I win. You know, I'd never win anything. You know how we think that? Anyway, so they're getting ready to call the names, and I go, I have to run to the restroom. So I went, it was in this huge arena where the workshop was, and I said, I'll be right back. You know, if they call me, let me know. I know they won't, though. I went out, had to go out of the arena, run to the restroom, run back in. My friend's waiting for me. They called your name. Oh, good, I'll go get, sorry. They said you must be present to win. And so I didn't get the material. I went up to the guy that was, I go, hey, I was here. No, I tried for 5 minutes to try to talk him into it. Nope, you must be present to win. And so, important message, especially for us in unity. We must be present to win. Connect here first. And then we can gather with one another in authenticity, which means saying yes when we mean yes, and no when we mean no, compromise and negotiate. But we have to be connected here to know what we want. And so with all of that in mind, I invite you to join with me in our meditation hymn, and the song is Our Thoughts Are Prayers. And so let us be willing to just slow down our thinking, closing our outer eyes, and slowing down and pausing in this moment. As we slow down, let us take some deep breaths. Breathing slowly in and slowly out. Imagining ocean waves slowly in and slowly out. And now letting your breath continue on its own. I invite you to imagine connecting deeply to the vast presence of the divine within. As you connect to the presence within, however you are seeing, feeling, or experiencing that within, notice in your body where you feel that connection most deeply. And breathe to that place. And in connecting to the presence of the divine within, and noticing where it is in our body that we feel it most clearly, know this is a holy space, a holy connection. It is the place in our consciousness where our truest and most real and authentic self is. This is the place in our consciousness where we know who we are. Made in the image and likeness of the divine, and yet each of us is a unique expression. And in this place, it is where our deepest inner gifts and strengths lie, always there. And as we abide here for a moment, I invite you to bring to mind some challenge, a personal challenge or a challenge that a loved one is dealing with that brings great consternation. And imagine connecting with the divine and your truest self, and knowing that the next step can be revealed. Simply the next step. That is all we ever need do, is take our next step. And so let us pause just for a moment in this silence and be open to the next step revealing itself in this challenge. And now, whether a next step came in this moment, let us know that it is in this connection, in this sacred place within, that we are always guided. But for now, let us deepen our breathing, preparing to leave this time of meditation, but still recalling where we feel that connection most deeply, most clearly. But as we are deepening our breathing, let us feel a moment of gratitude that we are here in this human form, gathering with one another, here on earth right now, to bring forth our deepest gifts. And we can give thanks for this blessing that we are able to connect with our herd. and we can move past any challenge, one step at a time. And so deepening our breathing even more, feeling connections in this room that are solid and holy and divine, feeling the life force moving within us, we can be open and receptive to the divine moment of life and love always with us. And for this, let us be grateful. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Suzanne. I guess that's a message from a horse, huh? How many of you are horse people in here? I think, see, look around, look around. Boy, wonderful, wonderful creations that can teach us so much. And thank you, Susan, for being here. And it's good to have a colleague speak to us and share with us. And by the way, you know, Unity Ministries do a lot of different things. And some of us are connected with churches. And Susan is a talented therapist. She's got a therapy practice, so that's what she spends her hours and days doing. And we're privileged to have her here next Sunday after the service. All children are gifted is the title. But I think that any of you, even if you're a 70-year-old child, can gather something from that message. We're never outgrow. Jesus said, become as a little child. So I'd encourage you to sign up and let us know and attend next Sunday after the service. So it's time for our offering. So let's take our offering and just hold it with gratitude, gratefulness that we're able to give and able to contribute to this ministry. So as we hold it, let's bless it with the words of the screen. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I receive. Thank you, God.
Come and be present.
Francie
Must be
pointed out-
present to win.
Francie pointed out to us that was a horse with no name that you just played.
Ah. Thank you, Francie. Where is Francie? Why aren't you
Here.
up here? We're doing knocking on heaven's door. Come on up. Anybody who wants to be in the choir, you know, you can just come up and be in it. You, come on up. We need our improviser up here. Mama, take these guns away from me. Mama, take these guns away from me. I can't shoot them anymore. I can't shoot them anymore. Getting dark too dark to see. Feels like I'm knocking on heaven's door. Knocking on heaven's door. Knocking on heaven's door. Knocking on heaven's door. Feels like knocking on heaven's door. Brothers and sisters, do you recall a promise that was made to us all? He said, all you gotta do is knock, and if you do, that door will be opened up to you. Knocking on heaven's door. You got to keep on knocking on heaven's door. Knocking on heaven's door. Oh, yeah. Knocking on heaven's door. The bird will learn to leave his cage and fly to freedom soon someday. I've been led to believe that no one's gonna be turned away. Knocking on heaven's door. Knocking on heaven's door. Let's sing it out, y'all. Knocking on heaven's door. Knocking on heaven's door. Can you all help us out now? Knocking on heaven's door. Keep on knocking. Knock. side. Here on the corner of Liza's Vine, I'm gonna let it shine. Here on the corner of Liza's Vine, I'm gonna let it shine. Here on the corner of Liza's Vine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good morning. We continued our series on growing and changing today, and today we talked about making good decisions and what can help us with that. So, would you like to share?
We talked about learning what our higher self can do to ourselves. We learned about making nice decisions and not so nice decisions. We learned empathy.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you, kids. These are just some of the many kids we have in our program. We thank you for being up here. You can go back and be your folks. Well, we have up here a dog, Romeo, that's sitting here in front. And I wanted to share something with you real quickly. We're going to distribute about 300 of these on doors throughout the area. They're doorknob hangers. And I have a very energetic golden retriever. And so we're going to start walking the streets. So if any of you would like to help, we got plenty of opportunity to let people know about Unity of Fort Collins. So just let me know if you'd like to walk the streets with me and knock on real doors, okay? So let's all just circle up as we close our service with a prayer of protection and the peace song. So thank you for being with us on this cold winter morning. You've got a warm heart, and its place is just full of warmth. So together, the light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.